Now on the CTV News at 5, what we're learning about the victims of the Tumbler Ridge tragedy. Plus, how the province plans to tackle complex needs in the classroom. And Southern Alberta's oldest town is getting a modern amenity, a traffic light.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Alberta's Education Minister has ordered all schools in the province to review their security measures. It follows the deadly shooting in Tumbler Ridge, BC. Andrew Johnson shares what we're learning about the victims from Tumbler Ridge.
Fresh tears near Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, where there is a steady stream of mourners determined to pay their respects, including BC Premier David Eby, who arrived in town last night, and Rick Patterson, who's lived here since 1983 and is one of the many trying to navigate their grief.
I think it's just a day-by-day and moment-by-moment thing.
For Patterson, the hardest part is feeling like the community failed its most vulnerable.
There was no protection there for them. They thought they were in a safe place, and I thought they were in a safe place.
Once a safe place, Tumbler Ridge Secondary is now the scene of a murder investigation. Police say the suspect, 18-year-old Jesse Van Rootselaar, murdered one teacher, 39-year-old Shanda Evaguana Durand, and 5 students there, and injured 27 others before turning the gun on herself. Among the victims, 13-year-old Ezekiel Schofield, 12-year-old Abol Mwansa, whose family online called him a brave kid with a bright future. 12-year-old Zoe Benoit is being remembered as a resilient, vibrant, and caring little girl. Also among those killed, 12-year-old Tikara Lampert, who friends say was a loving, courageous, and humorous girl who leaves behind 7 siblings. Their classmate, 12-year-old Kylie Smith, who was the light of her family's life, was also killed at the school.
I let her off. I let her go to school with her brother Ethan in the morning, and I had soaked in that moment watching them walk in the door together for whatever reason, and I didn't know it would be the last time they'd go to school together.
Police say before going to the school, Van Rootselaar killed her 39-year-old mother, Jennifer Jacobs, and 11-year-old stepbrother, Emmett Jacobs, at their family home. Community members say the love from Canadians across the country is helping them feel less alone during these dark days.
I love this place, I love this town, and now I love Canada even more because of what you have given to us.
She is not the only person we've heard that from. In the town, people tell us has long been known as The Rock. A great description today for the strength of this community. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Tumbler Ridge, BC.
As Canadians try to process what happened, psychologists say it is normal for children to show signs of stress that can look like becoming more clingy, expressing new fears, or feeling ill.
Approaching your kid and saying, hey honey, I'm noticing that you're having a lot of tummy troubles lately. I'm wondering if you're feeling scared or worried about what has happened recently. Show your child that you are there for them and that you are available to connect.
Experts say parents should start open conversations, reassure their kids they're not alone, and seek professional support if needed. There are mental health supports available for anyone struggling. We've posted those resources on our website. Now, the events in Tumbler Ridge have brought up memories of a similar tragedy in southern Alberta. It has been almost 27 years since Tabor experienced a school shooting. The shooting killed 17-year-old Jason Lang and injured one other person. The 14-year-old was ultimately sentenced to 3 years in prison and 7 years probation. Jason Lang's father, Dale Lang, is sharing his story again following the events in Tumbler Ridge. He knows what that community is going through and hopes they can find healing.
I'm really sad and unfortunate that another tragedy of this nature has happened in our country. It's a really it's a hard thing to deal with, and it's hard to understand how people get to a place where they do something so horrendously terrible.
Over the years, Reverend Lang has shared his stories with others to offer their families impacted by similar tragedies. Now, meanwhile, the province is making changes in the classroom to tackle complex needs. They say the goal is to give teachers and students more support where it's needed. Since the beginning of November, school boards have been gathering data on where the most complex classrooms are. They found 4,500 that need the most help. 476 complexity teams will be deployed across Alberta's kindergarten to grade 6 schools with a focus on K to grade 3. Each team consists of 1 teacher and 2 educational assistants. School boards have been put in charge of staffing, but critics say that might be tough considering staffing shortages are an ongoing issue. The data found that the average classroom size in the province is 25, which the government considers a reasonable level. We have more reaction coming up. And Cranbrook RCMP have laid charges in a string of poppy donation box thefts from last November. Mounties say thanks to strong business and community support, investigators compiled witness statements from multiple businesses, and they were able to identify a suspect who later turned themselves into police. 35-year-old Angela Grace Purdy faces 6 counts of theft under $5,000. Police thank the community for their vigilance and their support. Danielle Savoni is here, and that means it's time to talk about the forecast and the blast of winter that is on its way.
Yes, absolutely. So today, the warmest day absolutely of these next 10 days, and we're going to notice a huge difference in our weather next week, especially starting Tuesday. I'll get into the long range a little later in the show, but just touching on what's been happening. 74 kilometers per hour, that was the max gust in Pincher Creek. We talked about today being a windier day. 63 for Lethbridge, quieter in Medicine Hat. And again, these winds will calm down for tomorrow quite a bit. But the winds have brought the temperatures up a lot. So 10 degrees was the high in Lethbridge, 8 was the high in Pincher Creek, 9 for Medicine Hat. Check out Milk River. 14. We have more warm weather in the forecast before things really plummet. We'll talk about that just ahead, Jackie.
All right. Thanks, Danielle. Well, the province is investing millions into producing new energy while reducing carbon emissions, and that includes a first-of-its-kind facility in Coaldale to turn manure into natural gas. Quinn Keenan has more.
$28 million will be invested by the province into 6 projects across Alberta. These projects include new carbon capture pipelines and advanced cleanup technology to restore old oil and gas sites.
We are leaders in oil and gas, sure, but we are also leaders in carbon capture, methane reduction, biofuels, and a whole lot more. Engineers, farmers, and researchers are constantly coming up with new and better ways to do things.
Locally, Tours Canada will receive $10 million in funding to construct a facility that converts livestock manure into natural gas. It will be built just outside Coaldale. The facility would produce enough natural gas to power 4,500 homes.
We took lots of samples, lots of collaboration, lots of work, and really developed a process that was not only designed to create renewable energy, but designed to integrate seamlessly with the farming and operations of cattle, feedlot operations.
The facility will do more than just provide power. It will also simultaneously capture and sequester biogenic CO2. It would remove the equivalent CO2 of 3,800 cars.
The Industrial Transformation Challenge sends a clear signal that Alberta is serious about building a competitive, lower emission energy system, one that supports good jobs and long-term prosperity right here at home.
The project is being done in partnership with Casco Cattle Company and KCL Cattle Company. Manure from their feedlots will be used to provide fuel for the new facility.
This is a perfect complement in that we want to be able to produce more food with less resources, lower our environmental impact, and create great partnerships for our community and all of Alberta.
Groundbreaking will be this summer. The facility is expected to be fully operational by January 2028. Quinn Keenan, CTV News, Coaldale.
Southern Alberta's oldest town is about to get a modern era upgrade. The town of Fort Macleod has announced it will be installing its first ever traffic light on Highway 3, more than 134 years after the town was founded. Carson Marsouk reports.
It's controlled by a stop sign now, but come June, this Fort Macleod intersection will be equipped with traffic lights.
Safety is a good thing always, especially for pedestrians. You know, I always see that problem, but hopefully it'll work out.
That would be perfect because there's a lot of people that cross the highway there. Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
The traffic lights, though, will be the first ever to be installed in the town.
When we're doing a new development or doing any major projects, then we do a traffic study just to see how that's going to affect things. So just with the new houses and businesses going in Macleod Landing, then that will increase the traffic in that area.
About 11,000 vehicles pass through the Highway 3 and 18th Street intersection every day.
I've been in business in Fort Macleod for 4 years, and the growth that we've seen has been tremendous for us and for neighboring businesses, so we're really excited.
Incorporated in 1892, the town is best known for the Northwest Mounted Police, farmland, and railway. But the modern-day project will be one for the history books.
One day we'll be talking to people and we'll be saying, yeah, like, can you believe it? Back in 2026, that's when they first got their first traffic light, you know, and we'll have to have a display for it set up because, you know, that's how history goes.
While the technology will be new in town, Margaret Plumtree says it won't take away from the historic charm.
Well, we've got the historic downtown, right? Blocks and blocks of really old buildings. The town really does a great job keeping it, you know, keeping that historic look to it, that preservation. But, you know, progress still has to happen and it all becomes history one day.
Construction will begin in April with the new light anticipated to be operating by the end of June.
Well, in the scope of a town like this, a new traffic light is a moment in history. I suggest we all take a moment to appreciate it because in 100 years, nobody is going to remember who put it there.
Carson Marsuk, CTV News, Fort Macleod.
Now, the project was approved in the town's 2026 provisional operating budget and was in consultation with Alberta Transportation. The annual Care from the Heart Day radioathon has been underway all day today at Chinook Regional Hospital. Radio stations from across the city are live on location inside the atrium, speaking with patients and staff while raising funds for the Chinook Regional Hospital Foundation. It is one of the biggest fundraisers of the year for the foundation. All money raised will be used to buy new equipment and improve health care for Chinook Regional Hospital. This year's radioathon has a goal of $300,000, and as of 4 o'clock this afternoon, about $245,000 was already raised. Well, Danielle has a look ahead at your weekend forecast when we come back, plus a look at some of the mental health issues being considered in the Tumbler Ridge tragedy.
All right, here's your Skycam from about an hour ago. Today was not as clear as yesterday, but today in some cases and for some communities in the far south, warmer than yesterday, thanks to the westerly winds. All right, let's talk about the winds first. And we just touched on this already today, but 74 kilometers per hour, that was the max in Pincher Creek, 63 for Lethbridge. Tomorrow, Lethbridge will be down to about 50 kilometer per hour gusts, Pincher Creek down to 60. So the winds will ease a little bit for tomorrow. Let's look at daytime highs today and what's been happening, because today will be the warmest day of the next 10 easily. 9 was the high in Calgary and Medicine Hat. 8 was the high in Pincher Creek. 10 for Lethbridge, 14 for Milk River. Let's fast forward to where we're at now, when we're still in the double digits. Lethbridge to Milk River, we're at 7 in Medicine Hat, 8 in Brooks, and 6 in Pincher Creek. So it's a bit of a windy day, especially in the southwest corner. And we do have some cloud cover, as you can see here, but it's also a very nice spring-like day. And we're going to lose the spring-like part next week, especially by Tuesday as we dip below freezing for a daytime high. And it's all because of this. Well, we're under somewhat of a ridge of high pressure. This is going to slump down though. So the jet stream will slump to the south. That's going to open us up for this colder air mass to not just move in, but settle in. It's going to slowly make its way in. So we're going to be eased back into winter weather, which is some good news for us. Let's talk about the future cast here. There's not a whole lot to talk about for tonight or tomorrow, but by the time we get into the weekend, again, when that jet stream slumps down, it's going to open things up, because the jet stream is the storm track. It's going to allow the cloud cover to move back in. That was once redirected up and around us for about a couple of weeks now. All right, so what this is going to do, Saturday morning, this is a shot at 7 o'clock in the morning. There may even be a little sprinkle in the far south to the east of Lethbridge. And then we'll have some snow building in along the BC border here, west of Pincher Creek. Then as we get into the afternoon, we'll see some snow potentially even creep into the city of Calgary. So we do have a little bit of moisture likely on Saturday, but it will be short-lived and nothing really to really look at. It's next week that we're looking at a big snowfall for many days and much colder temperatures, and we'll likely see enough snow to shovel. I'll show you that in the longer range in just a second here. -5 overnight for East Kootenay with a wind chill of -7. So in the morning tomorrow, wind chill of -7 when off to work and school. A high of 3 in the afternoon, mainly cloudy skies. 2 overnight for Crowsnest Pass, 60 km/h gusts down to 50 for tomorrow. A high of 5 for tomorrow with a mix of sun and cloud. Medicine Hat -3 overnight, wind chill around -7, so that's likely where you're starting off the day. It will feel a little chilly in the morning, but still getting up to a high of 8 tomorrow, mainly sunny skies. It's a beautiful day in the forecast for Medicine Hat tomorrow. All right, longer range forecast. 8 degrees in Lethbridge tomorrow, gusts around 50 km/h, a mix of sun and cloud. For Valentine's Day on Saturday, 7 degrees. So we're still holding on to some very nice weather. Again, in the morning hours, though, there may be a little pop of moisture at around 7 a.m. Then 6 for Sunday, 3 for Monday for Family Day, and by Tuesday, a high of -7 and likely 5 centimeters of snow.
Now turning to the issue of mental health and violent behavior. Advocates for mental health say the illness can't be conflated with violence, but they all agree a strong support system is needed. CTV's Adrian Gabriel looks into whether what exists is working and what needs to change.
As the flicker of a flame sheds light on the darkest of weeks, a Canadian community has been left to hold each other up, while some begin to question if this senseless tragedy could have been prevented.
Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our suspect.
As recently as a year ago, police visited the home of suspected shooter Jesse Van Rootselaar.
On different occasions, the suspect was apprehended for assessment and follow-up.
So apprehended under the Mental Health Act?
Yes.
It's certainly not ideal for police to be providing mental health support or mental health care, and really that responsibility isn't fair to them either.
Located at the foothills of the Rockies in northeastern British Columbia, Tumbler Ridge is home to roughly 2,400 people. The town has its own medical center with limited in-person mental health support. In January, BC announced it was expanding its Foundry centers that offer support to those between the ages of 12 and 24, though the closest Foundry center to Tumbler Ridge is in Prince George, roughly 4 hours away.
We know that virtual supports can be provided, but they're not adequate. We really need mental health and well-being supports to be situated in the community.
The Tumbler Ridge suspect identified as a female. One behavioral neuroscience professor believes there's a glaring support gap in remote regions for members of the LGBTQ+ community.
They often face discrimination, harassment, stigma, and really that threatens mental health and well-being.
BC's premier has vowed to do whatever is necessary to ensure an event like this never takes place again. Psychologists we spoke with say a good first step is ensuring that some of the mental health support now in Tumbler Ridge remains there for the long term. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, we have a look at the latest Olympic results when we come back. Lethbridge Hurricanes will welcome Everett Silvertips tomorrow night to town, while also raising funds for cardiac care in southern Alberta. The Canes have partnered with the Bringing Hearts Home campaign, an initiative that's looking to raise $30 million in 30 months. The Canes will wear one-of-a-kind jerseys that will be auctioned off, with proceeds going to the campaign, and $5 from every ticket sold will go towards bringing cardiac care to southern Alberta. The campaign has currently raised 83% of its goal, with one more year left to go. A lot for us to cheer for today at the Milano Cortina Olympics. Team Canada has seen a surge in its medal count, and both hockey teams showed their dominance on the ice. CTV's Scott Hurst reports.
A big day in short track speed skating. Courtney Sereau won bronze in the women's 500-meter. This is her second medal of the Games. Sereau was part of the team that won silver in the mixed relay earlier in the week. 4 Olympic Games, 4 medals for a Canadian athlete known as the King.
Very happy to win my 4th medal and 4 starts at the Olympic Games.
Opening ceremony flag bearer Mikhail Kingsbury landed back on the podium in Milano Cortina, a silver medal for the decorated Olympian. He finished with an identical score as the gold medalist, but lost the top spot through a tiebreaker.
This one I worked really hard for. and it was a tough one to get.
We will see Kingsbury again in the Dual Moguls event this weekend. Canada is celebrating another silver on the slopes, this time in snowboard cross. 24-year-old Elliot Grandin from Quebec also missing out on gold by the slimmest of margins.
Pretty good. I mean, it's another silver medal, so you can't really be too upset.
This is his third Olympic medal and will have a chance to add to his personal total in the mixed snowboard cross team event on Sunday. On to the quarterfinals for the Canadian women's hockey team. The women beat Finland today 5-0 to close out their preliminary round with a record of 3-1. On the men's side, it was a relatively easy start to their Olympic program. The Canadian men won their opening match against Czechia 5-0. This is the first time we're seeing NHL players at the Olympic Games since Sochi 2014. The women's hockey team will begin the knockout round on Saturday. They'll face Germany in the quarterfinals. The men will be back on the ice tomorrow against Switzerland. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, we'll show you how Canadians are congregating at the Winter Olympics in Italy. In Olympics gone by, Canada House has been a gathering place for athletes, families, and fans. This year, there is no such place. Instead, Canadians are in Italy organizing their own hangouts and viewing parties. CTV's Garrett Berry reports.
A friendly invasion, a sea of red taking over this Milan sports bar and making it,
man, I feel like a woman,
the unofficial Canada HQ.
This is an amazing place. I've just got a whole new room full of friends here.
What started with a few WhatsApp messages and Facebook callouts has become an act of some international diplomacy on one of the world's biggest stages.
People see my Canadian flag on my lapel, only the best energy that's given back to me. I'm really proud to be Canadian.
The Canadians are filling the chairs.
We have a lot of Olympic tickets, but we wanted to do one, at least have one big Canadian game where we would be with a bunch of Canadian fans.
If you see us hanging out here, come on over and say hi. We're making friends, meeting people from all over the country.
They're flipping the channels over to hockey and explaining the rules to everyone around.
I've seen the sport before, but I've never understood it. I've been educated by Jason's, like offensive line and the blue line.
The Italian staff can't seem to get enough.
Love this place, Blues Canal, because we are like to building a place where people can just be themselves, bringing something from their country.
Gabriella told me that her new Canadian customers and friends are always trying to solve problems and really are just nice. Garrett Berry, CTV News, Milan.
Thank you for sharing this time with us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.